Hey everybody, it's Christine, up today with the quarantine scrapbooking video hop, where there's a whole group of us sharing videos to inspire you to scrapbook your photos from this time of quarantine. So my question for you is, how are you scrapbooking this quarantine? How have you captured the memories in unique ways? One of the ways I've done that is by doing a monthly recap layout and retelling our stories in that. But I am also doing some layouts capturing some of the bigger moments. And today I'm going to be capturing how my daughter dyed her hair red, pink, fuchsia, I don't know. The color of the scrapbook paper that you see. And so I am using paper to tell that story. So the title of this layout is Quarantine Hair Don't Care. And I just happened to have some Paper House Productions paper that perfectly matched the shade of her hair as well as the flowers in the background when I took her picture. So I opted to really make that my primary color for this layout. I'm tucking a little bit of green paper, also from Paper House Productions, behind it. Another thing to note is that, once again, I am using that same sketch because all this month I am primarily using one sketch to do my layouts and showing you all the different ways that you can create using one sketch and taking a little bit of the thinking process out of the creative process. And so I am using that sketch again today. I showed it up close at the beginning, and it does come from the Scrap Room. If you just search for the Scrap Room group on your Facebook page, you will find it, and there's a whole group where they have contests with that. It is a kit club, and it is their jumpstart sketch for the month. So carrying on, you can see I've got two pictures and I've got the two layers of patterned paper going right now. I'm just trying to make sure that things are straight before I move on to the next step. Always important when you are working with very blocky elements. Now, one great way to change up the look of a sketch without compromising the overall design is to add some stitching. So today I'm going to go ahead and take this heart, which I just hand cut by folding a 12 by 12 paper in half and cutting out a heart like we were taught in elementary school. I cut it out, and then I have laid it on there, attached it in a couple spots with washi tape, and I'm just going around with my piercer and piercing holes around it. You can see that the heart is at a slant and that it's going to capture my photos within it. I am not poking holes through my pictures. I am through the patterned paper, but not through my pictures. And then I'm just going to go through with some white thread and do a back stitch. This is a really subtle addition. If I did a color, it would be more bold, but this with white, it's very subtle. Took me probably about a half hour to do the stitching overall. I just threw on a podcast, listened, and worked away. Just a great way to add a little detail without a real complicated technique. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my title. I am using some foam alphabet stickers, the Color Vibe stickers from Simple Stories. The green was a perfect match. I debated a lot what color I wanted to do here because I do want to try and work a third color in there. Besides white. I've got right now that green, and I've got that pink, and I've got my actual base paper is a very subtle green patterned paper. It's white and green, and you can't really see the green, aside from the fact that you can see it's clearly not stark white. It was just a real subtle addition. So now the way I decided to add in the extra color, I needed to add a stripe across the page according to the sketch. So I decided to add in some yellow. Now, this could have gone a lot of directions. I could have taken this layout at that point to a really softer, shabby chic kind of look, depending what I added. Because I opted to add a pop of yellow, I was going for more of a vibrant, bright, graphic maybe look. Definitely wasn't going for the softer look. And I did play with that a lot off camera to try and figure out what was going to work. I looked at like some softer golds, etc. What I ended up doing is taking some paper from Pink Paisley that I just showed you a moment ago and fussy cutting these flowers. The pink was nearly a perfect match, and then the pop of yellow in the middle was just perfect. And I'm going to use those to create clusters on my layout that will frame the picture. I didn't need, there's a lot going on already, so I didn't need anything major. I didn't need 50 different elements to be added in. So I felt like these flowers were a nice, simple additional touch that complemented the pictures themselves well and brought out the colors nicely. I did go back and forth on which size flowers to use because there was a lot of options there, and they were a really simple, fussy cut. One thing I do want to point out on this layout is between the stitching and the fussy cutting, I had some downtime to really stop thinking and just work on the layout. And by stop thinking, I meant stop thinking about the creative process. So it gave me some time to just kind of reflect and think about some things and that I had on my mind, which was really nice. Just a little bit of a mental break while still doing something productive. Without it being like dishes. Something creative and productive. How's that? So you can see I have got those flowers on there. I am popping up some of the petals with 3D foam squares. I've got them a mixture of popped up and flat as far as how I applied each one. At least one of them is popped up right in the center, all just to add some dimension and interest. And I love the look of flower petals popping up on a layout without, sticking up so much that you can't put them into an album later. The next thing I'm going to add is some butterflies. I wanted to bring in a little bit more yellow, so I pulled out this really tiny butterfly punch and just punched some yellow butterflies out of that paper. The yellow paper is another paper from Paper House Productions, and I just punched those out, and I'm adding a few to each cluster area of the layout, and I'm adding those on using some mini adhesive dots from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. Even being mini, I still had to be really careful about my placement so that they didn't the dots weren't overlapping and showing adhesive on the front side. Those, I can't say enough about having little teeny tiny mini punches between the circle one, which is like the size of a normal hole punch, a star one, a butterfly one, and a heart one. I find that I go to those a lot as a finishing detail, whether it's those or enamel dots. I find that I often will pull those out. Now, obviously I'm not pulling out the butterflies every layout, but I do pull it out probably about once a month to just add a little bit more, because it's not an obnoxious embellishment. It's just a little tiny detail that you can add. And a lot of times you can find those punches for like $1 at big box stores. Not expensive at all. And I just definitely recommend some of the more generic shapes that you use in layouts, getting some of those for yourself. Now I'm adding on some little wood veneer pieces. These are also butterflies, and I'm varying the sizes. Those came from Jelly Bean Soup. And I'm also going to add on some enamel dots. I'm going to do that in white, so it's a little more subtle and just a dimensional addition. And I'm going to add on some yellow mist splatters. As a reminder, this layout today is part of a hop, a quarantine scrapbooking video hop. I'm actually hosting it, and then there's a whole list of ladies down in my description who are participating. So you can get filled up with ideas of how people approached it. And I think you'll see a really wide variety of techniques and products and how everybody's telling their story from this very odd year. So be sure to check out those other ladies today. And thank you so much for joining me. I'm really glad you're here. I would love to hear more details about how you are scrapbooking this time in the comments down below, or if you haven't even touched it, I'd love to hear that too. Also, please hit that subscribe button. I love having you here visiting, and if you aren't a subscriber already, I would love to have you as one. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and we will see you again actually very soon, because I've got lots of layouts coming up, and have a great rest of your weekend.